We are again. All right, so a couple of things I want to try to get done today. One, I'd like to get my simulator panel kind of going here. I'm trying to figure out how much field of depth I want in here. So you can see, I can see almost the entire field. I feel like that's too much, but I also need to get a view of all the guys on the field. Okay, so I don't even think I can. I used to be able to look at a game called Big Win Football, but let's look at a different one. I don't need to play it. I just need to get an idea of what I want my field to look like when it's loaded. So this is a so I have all these football games. This is basically every football game on Android. There may be one or two I've missed, but this is basically every football game on Android. And I don't know all of them perfectly, but unfortunately, one of the ones I really liked to use as an example was Big Win Football. They've gone out of business. Their servers are inaccessible. You can't even run the game anymore. So here's an interesting question that a lot of people may ask, and that is, how will I keep this going in the event that I decide to stop making it? Stop supporting it. I won't. Well, I don't think I will. Here's the thing. Okay, so when I launch this game, I'll probably start it off launching it on my own personal server locations. I'll put the APKs out there, and I will run the Go services background on the cheapest, most cost-effective way I can, because the games I don't want to have. I want the game to grow into something that I can support. Okay, and then if the game can support itself, make enough to keep paying for itself, I will let it stay out there until it no longer functions. That's assuming I don't, something happens and I can't keep it running, or I don't keep updating it. I don't foresee that happening. This is like my thing I want to do, and so the game's going to be around. But yeah, you got to make contingencies, because companies like, say, Big Win Football have been around since 2018, 7 years. They didn't make contingencies. They go out of business, game's gone, close it down, server's toast. I feel like a company, once you've gone into a point where you no longer have any money at all and you have to shut down, that means, it's like I have a company, I have a business, Active Minds Games, and I sell the Mage Cage and X-Case and all that stuff. But it's basically at a $0 right now. I mean, I sell some cases here and there, but I haven't gone out of business because I didn't let it get to the point where I'm in debt or owing stuff. I was in debt a long time ago, but the product sold itself, balanced out, paid off all of its debts. And now, if I have to put any money in, it's just a trickle here and there. Keeping the bank account open if for some, because they have fees on it. Keeping it running at a bare minimum cost. And I can do that because it sells enough generally to make its own sales and pay for its basic things. And if not, I trickle some money in there, little things. So I can keep selling the product, and hopefully one day I get to ramp up again. That'll come down to, my ability to continue to build following and interest in the products and the things that I do. And as a result, I'm going to continue to push forward to make that same thing happen with this. So I'm going to continue to make this game. Once it gets launched, assuming that everything gets some kind of good foundation and it works and it's at all, I mean, I'm not talking about even has to be big success. I want it to be a big success. But if it's popular enough to get a following and get people playing it, I'll continue to work on it and advance it as long as I can. But if something comes up, I'm going to try to make contingencies. I'm going to be planning on contingencies to keep the game running for as long as, like, say, for example, if nobody else is using it, nobody else is playing it, or I'm sorry, nobody else is supporting it, and the game doesn't go on to someone else. I want to have something going on to let it go until technology outgrows it. In other words, it's no longer a viable product, which could be, years. I mean, even the old versions of Android games now are still getting pumped out and still working, and you can play stuff from 2015 and 14 and whatever. Now, I don't know, technology at some point could outgrow completely and just, like becomes, the cassette or VHS, where they just jump off the tech and now even old stuff don't work because there's nowhere to play it. That's the worst case scenario. But I want to make sure that as long as the game is playable, I have contingencies in place to make sure the game stays successful. So no matter what you buy, what you pay, what you play, it's always going to be there for you, up until it's no longer viable. Like there's software games out there, right? You get one, and they're good until you can't play them on the machine anymore. And that's kind of what I want to do. Now, I plan to support it and keep upgrading it and doing stuff with it and keeping it at the line of viability for long, solid current viability as much as possible. But that said, I don't know what I can do. I mean, I'm going to keep giving it more features, new functionality, and try to keep doing better AI, but eventually it's got to make enough money for me to bring in some support to help with things like graphics, if I want to really get the graphics to a nicer state. And, that kind of thing also costs money, because I need people that know what they're doing. Anyway, so what I was going to look at, I just wanted to look at, something like another simulation. Well, there's really just not that many simulations out there. Most of them are, let's go super tiny football. These guys have big heads. This is like chibi football, which is kind of interesting because I'm actually thinking that's the kind of characters I'm using are chibi style. See, they haven't even gotten to 0.1, so they have not officially released yet. Trades now support offering 2 items. New added floor color variations. Field color variations. Overtime rules fixed and updated. Fixed white cloud issue on older iOS devices. Various bug fixes, performance enhancements, and behind the scenes changes. Okay. So let's look at a game. See, I really do love the way they pan around on their screen. They do a good job. Let's do play game. Most of what they do behind the scenes is not really of interest to me, because it's very basic. Very, 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 very basic. So it's not much different from a retro bowl. And even their cards are pretty generic. I mean, they look cool and they're nicer than mine are right now, but see, I love the way that their little characters have standing animations, which is something I want to get going. So I'm 0-1. I'm not going to play, but I want to look at the way these guys lie out on the field. See, they got a nice panning effect. I really like that. I wish I knew how to. That's what I want to figure out how to do. Okay, so this is what I'm aiming for, where I have a side view. So they start off wide and then they zoom in. Looks like they've got a fair amount of screen showing. 10, 20, 30. I can do the zoom and stuff. Now, like with my screen currently. Yeah, see, the angle is better. They got a better angle. And I think I might need to do that, because it's not enough to see what's going on, right? You don't get to see the players. You won't. Now, the routes don't matter, because I'm not actually going to need to draw the routes on the screen, because you're going to have plays to pick from, and it's a simulation, so there's no need to show routes. Running on this game is impossible, by the way. Let's see. Do they actually change? I don't think they. Oh, they do have formation changes. I guess that's good. Oops, that's a terrible pass. So they have I formation, but you don't really have control, right? It just gives you random formations. You don't have any real control over what formations you get. Now they do have some plays, I think. And so they stand. This is kind of how I want my guys to be, right? But they have the kneeling animation. The guys down on their kneeling positions, which I like. They're not moving at all, so it's not a standing animation. It's not an active animation. It's just a pose, really. But so let's see. Do they walk back to the? They don't. They just walk to the line and actually. I actually want to have my guys. Well, my guys are going to go to the huddle, but the reason for that is I might do like they did, hyper speed have them walk back quickly, just to keep the clock moving. But I want to try to keep the clock in sync with player movement. So my objective, I don't even know if does time run out on you on here. They have no play clock. I didn't realize that. That's interesting. They have no play clock. Huh. They have no play clock or second counter even. Well, I guess they do have 36, 35, 34, and then it stops. So kind of sort of a play clock. It's so hard to run in this game. This game is crazy. We will play fourth down. And so you can see they change formations, but the plays you don't have. I mean, they have plays, they have formations, so that's kind of cool. I have plays and formations, but I'm trying to figure out. So they are pretty dang tiny. That is a thing. And I don't know how well. And the reason that. The reason that that's a big deal to me is because I got to put different types of players on the field, and I'm just kind of seeing what the scale is, right? Hey, Rambo, how you doing, man? I'm comparing my game to others right now, or my plans to what I want to see. Now, my game is not going to be playable like this. Mine is a simulation, because I think I've kind of mentioned that before. So, how was your workout this morning? How was your trip? Did you have a good trip? Anyway, so that's what I wanted to see. So they have a fair amount of field. It looks like they cover about 10, 20, 30, 40, about 50 yards of field. The angle is nice. It gives a good view of all the players. And it is actually a really sharp field. I mean, it's really high. You can't see much else. See, mine is pretty low, and I was going to have some stuff up here, but I think people are going to want to see more field. I don't know if I want it quite. All right, I have to do this. It's time for me to start getting it to the point where I have some players on the field, more than just my one character. So it's time to just duplicate, start dropping a bunch of guys on the field. I need 22 guys on the field. And I just want to put them down. I'll put them in space. I'll just position them. They're not going to have any real connection to any back-end code, really. But at least until I start assigning them. But I do need to start getting guys on the field, just so I can see 22 players on the field. So, were you? Did you leave already, Rambo? Like, you didn't give me a chance to respond to you, man. You were pretty quick in and out. All right. Oh, by the way, if anybody's watching, I haven't figured it out yet, but there's quite a delay on my stream. So if you say something to me, it's like 2 minutes before you're going to hear my reply. It doesn't mean I won't have replied immediately. What it means is it'll be that long before you see my reply. Because I don't know if it's a Restream thing or a Twitch thing, but it's actually, I think it's not quite that long, but it's long enough, especially when as the stream goes on. So if I've been streaming for more than, say, 30, 40, 45 minutes, you will start to notice that there's a delay. So what a lot of streamers do is they'll put their text on the screen. The only problem with that is the only problem with that is for my stream, that actually blocks up a lot of stuff. In other words, I don't have the stream is not transparent. So if I want to put the text on the screen, I can't. I don't know how to make it transparent. If I could make it transparent, I would consider it, but I don't know how. Let's see here. There is a restream. The reason people put it on their stream so you can see the text is so you can see when your text comes in and when they reply according to your stream. So in other words, you would see it pop up on the screen for me, but it is not delayed on your end, by the way. So when you write to me, it comes in immediately. And I reply pretty close to it when I see it. Sometimes, most of the time, it's immediate. But there's that delay. So what you'll see on the screen is you'll type something and it won't show up on my screen for a while. It might be like 2 minutes. But you'll also note that as soon as it does pop up, I reply immediately. But it's not you delayed, it's me delayed. So I am seeing your reply. So if you see me respond to something or I don't know what you're talking about, like I go, what are you referring to again? It could have been 2 minutes ago and I've already, moved on in the world. And so you may have to give me a background check of what it was you were talking about. So if you hear me ask, what was that about? You can send a reply and I'll immediately see your reply. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'll reply right away and respond because I'll now know what you were talking about. So the gap between what I say and what you reply is instant. I mean, as quickly as you type and you see it. It's just that you don't get to see what I say for a couple of minutes. So it's weird. Yeah. So basically I see everything's up to date from the time you send to the time I see to the time I reply. It's just the time you see that is not, that's delayed. Restream, OBS, app, chat app. Restream does have a tool for chat. I just that you can download. I just haven't installed it in a while, and I don't remember if I can do transparent. So if it can't be transparent, it really doesn't help me any. Because I don't really want it blocking up my screen. I am using free, so I only get a log 2 things. Channels, analytics, past streams, default. Oh, I thought there was a chat app. I mean, I'm sure there is. I just don't know where it is. Probably made me log in, so it didn't take me where I wanted to go. Product Studio, multi-stream, upload and stream, studio, here, go to live streaming studio. Nope, I guess it's not an app. Connect OBS to restream, UBS docs and widgets. You will see 3 different OBS docs. Yeah, I know about the 3 docs. In addition to basic setup, Restream Studio plus OBS Chat Relay. The powerful Chat Relay bot allows you to repost comments from one platform. I already do that. Broadcast. Oh, maybe they don't have the chat app anymore. Probably nobody was using it because I barely used it when I had it last time. Oh, here we go. Embed chat on your streaming software. Show your viewers incoming. Oh, okay. I can try this. Choose an embed. Embed chat for Twitch. Customize your embed code. All right. Do I have to download something, or do I just take the... this example, use OBS Studio, but any software supporting browser. Okay. Copy your embed code from this page. Okay, so we do that, and let's see, from OBS Studio, sources, browser. I don't know if, I may not even be able to put this in while I'm doing this. Well, it is just a browser link. All right. OBS, okay, so we're going to add an OBS browser. Let's see here. I'll show you what I'm doing. Why not? Let's go add browser link. We'll call this Restream Embedded Chat. Now we'll just drop this puppy in here. I don't know if it matters if anybody sees this. Is that even is that a realistic concern? I don't know. But it's just a copy of your all right. You know, what does it say do? Name source, delete the URL in the URL box, paste. Every time you change your chat settings, select the chat source and click refresh to get the updated look. Okay. Probably don't want it this big, but let's see what it does. So this, what is that doing? It's not what I expected it to see. Hey Nintendo, how's it going, man? Big Dom, big bad Dom. Yep, I'm doing it, man. So I'm trying to embed my chat. Can you see? Is there a chat on there? Is that even readable? It's pretty tiny on my screen, but that's only because my screen is very tiny, so I don't know if that's readable. Problem is, I have a lot of things I put on the bottom of my screen, so I don't know if this is actually going to be of any real use to anybody. Um, oh, there it is. Why do you put yes with AI? Yes with AI? What? Oh, huh. Because there is there is a lot of people out there, and I'm starting to find I haven't been getting it too much, but it's kind of like using AI for art. There's a lot of programmers out there that are of the belief that you are not a programmer because you're using AI. Now, don't get me wrong, they're wrong. so, so it's not that. But they actually like it's kind of like haters of Microsoft or haters of Apple or haters of people who just feel like, oh well, we don't use AI because we know how to develop, we know how to do real code, and we can type with it, we can do our coding without it. And I'm telling you right now, this is what I was saying this the other day. Um, the people who refuse to use AI simply on principle are not going to be uh, they're going to get left behind. It's just going to happen. Yeah, right now they may be at the top of their game, they're getting jobs and they're doing stuff, but if you refuse to use AI going into the future, now, of course, if you get a job and they make you use AI, you're going to use AI. But I'm just saying, if people like saying, oh, I don't want to use AI, they go, I know how to develop code. I don't need that stuff. So I say, I don't care. You know what? I use AI. And, there is plenty of, it's like even now, this AI is not writing my app. It could not do it. It has no chance. I mean, the stuff I've done so far, it's so beyond AI. But the thing is, AI helps me assemble the pieces. And I just kind of guide it and mold it. And I think that's what a developer's job is going to look like in the future, because AI can type faster. It can do things more accurately. It knows all the methods and pieces and parts that are in every type or in most of the types of code it's working with. It keeps getting updated. It's just going to keep getting better. And if you can't learn to work with AI, you're just going to get left behind. You're going to be slower. A good developer can go in and make a big app like I'm making as a pretty big app. It's especially for a single person. But or they can go in there and guide AI to make the app happen. It's like I'm doing a bunch of Unity stuff here. AI can't even code. I mean, it can code some of the parts and pieces in the background, but a lot of it can't be done without going through the UI. And AI obviously is not controlling my UI. Now, Unity may someday implement some stuff that AI can manage, but even then, there's a lot of bits and parts. You just can't leave it to AI. You're going to have to learn the app. You're going to have to eventually learn the code. And yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff with AI, but I don't care if people know I'm working with AI, and if people got a problem with it, tough. And yes, I use AI art. So again, if you're out there going, he's using AI art, I'm not buying his game, blah blah blah. Well, that's your choice, your prerogative, man. But I'm telling you, single companies don't have money to be paying thousands of dollars to artists. And I can't pay the people who go out and create me a nice 3D rendered, beautiful animated characters. Can't do it. If you want to be able to, now AI has given us the opportunity to have small companies. Basically what these people are saying is they'd rather pay the big companies to make their games. They don't want to support small content delivering companies because they're using the tools to make it possible for them to do this. And if you're alienating all of the people who are trying to start their own business, trying to get something going, and they can't do it without money, well, dude, whatever. But your stance is flawed. What can I say? And if you're going to be a hater on that, forget you. I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep building in. people will just have to either come or not. They're going to play my game or they're not going to play my game. And that's the case for everything, right? I mean, people don't play Madden's games because there's one thing or another they hate about Madden. Some people hate Madden because the game isn't great, which is a good reason. That's the best reason. But then they also, some of them don't like it because, oh, they're stifling competition by always owning this the NFL license, and other companies can't do it. First of all, other companies can make football games. You're right. They can't use the NFL, but a good football game, who cares? I mean, I'll play any game if it's using NFL rules. Who cares if you got the real players? Most people don't even know most of the players in the league anyway. the the most knowledgeable players might know 30% of the players in the league. And I would say that's like the best. And those guys are all, they like might know all the quarterbacks and maybe a lot of the starting guys, but they don't know all of them. And they couldn't name all. I bet you take all these best analysts out there, and they couldn't tell you the names of all the starters on 5 teams. Pick any 5 teams. Pick their favorite 5 teams. I bet you they couldn't name all the starters. I challenge thee to be able to say all the 5 starters on your own off the top of your head. So nobody knows all the players. And so it's cool to see names that are familiar and know all these guys. All right, man, take it easy. I'll see you when I see you when I see you. Yeah, and then a lot of those devs out there that don't use AI, they use Google, which is just the hard way. It is like we're getting it from other developers. Yeah, well, that's great, but you're assuming all other developers know how to do this, and otherwise you're just fumbling through trying to figure it out yourself. And that time is massive waste. Massive waste. When AI can just say, well, this is how you do it, and you can code it. You can code it yourself if you want. Just use ask. type the words yourself. At least you get to see what it's typing. I admit I copy paste a lot of what AI does, but I often find myself going back, tweaking, editing, and just fiddling with it on my own, because it's not always perfect, or it's not doing exactly what I want, so I got to make changes. All right, so that's my my AI digression. So that's why I say yes with AI. And I'm going to keep going, and AI will be a part of this entire app. This way I can get it done. I don't have to go to 50 different pages and browse and hope I find the right guy commenting on the right thing, giving me the right piece of code, because it's really hard to find. And I've done it. Even now, I still do it occasionally because AI's like, doesn't know how, or it's not giving me what I want. Sometimes, like the other day, I wanted to go find a visual way to implement a background using a cylinder. I couldn't find it. There's no YouTube videos out there that showing somebody trying to use the cylinders for a background, but AI showed me how to do it, and I thought it was kind of cool. For that matter, I couldn't find how anybody did it anywhere, any kind of background. And I'm talking about background for like an animated field. So I have my football field down, and I wanted to create a background where you put the player, the fans and stuff in it. I didn't find that yet. I don't know how to do that yet. I have no idea. Now, supposedly you can go buy some assets that do some of that, but I see a lot of good ones online. I'm impressed. I like the way Super Tiny Football did it. Good job, BO. I know you're not the only one who did it, but you're the only person I know related to that project. You guys did a cool, I like the way your cameras pan around, which I think I can do some of. Mine is going to look a lot more generic, especially at first. But my goal is to have something that has the field feel. That's cool. And Big Win Football had a pretty good one too. And they kind of come in and they have a camera that pans around, which is, again, it's pretty cool. But that's stuff I'm going to start doing once I start having more regular functionality on my app. So let's do this. I'm going to try to see about inputting a bunch of players. Now, I expect my game will have 32 teams, and I have to put all the players down. Now, here's one of the problems with what I'm doing. This is going to be... I have a feeling I'm digging a hole that's massively deep. And that's why I'm thinking I don't know if I'm going to do it. So my teams can have multiple players from multiple races, right? So I got lizards and orcs and birds and lions and cats and scorned and other creatures that are all these races. There's 32 of them. Now, most games just load up 22 football players and throw them on the field, and then you can assign names to all those players, and wow, you're good, right? But for me, that means loading up upwards somewhere between, I would have to guess it's going to be a minimum of 5 to 22 models of players on your team. And I say 5 because I don't think overall between two teams I'll ever have less than 5. I think they're all with 22 players on the field at any given time. So on every given play, I have to have certain players represented. So it's almost like I need to load up the entire. I'll have to have all the models available, and then I'll have to have players that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What I'm attempting to do may be. I mean, I know it's doable. That's not the question. The problem is it doable in a first edition game? And I'm leaning towards probably not. I really think I may be biting off a chunk. But let's get these 22 guys down, and they're all going to be the same right now. We'll get them on the field. All right, so let's go to let's hide this for now. And then we're going to click on my plane. Oops. F. And then how do I change my camera? My development camera. Because I can click here. See, that's kind of the one I want to see. It's a home sideline camera. That is the main camera. It's like it turns green, but boy, my lines look weird. What did it do? Holy moly. That one zoomed right into my face. I really came in close. It's really hard to change the angles and stuff on this. Fixing set active camera method. Okay, let's try this. How do I have a football field on my scene. So do I simply go up? Maybe I just go up. Let's put 60 on here. Oh, that's the wrong way. What do I, oh, it's my plane that I'm changing. I don't want to change my plane. See, I'm trying to change my perspective. How do I change my perspective? Use your scene view controls. Scene. How do I scene view controls? Hold right mouse button and use WAS to fly around. Oh, wow. All right, that changes. That moves it up and down. That's great. But how do I change the angle? Alt left click to orbit around a focal point. Alt, what is it? Alt left click? Oh, golly, this is too cool. Okay, finally. Finally, I can do stuff. Oh, that is... Dude, that is... I gotta write this down. Right. I do not want to forget this. So it's right click to bring it up and down, and alt left click to do this. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So much better. Okay. All right, yeah, that's cool. Use scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Well, I already knew that one. Press F key when an object is selected to focus on it. Okay, but that is too freaking cool. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna save these. Take that puppy, and I'm gonna go put them in my notes. My notes for how to do what I'm doing. All right, so design services. Do I not have one for Unity controls? Testing. Wow, I do not. I have stuff for just about everything else, but not one for Unity. Unity controls. Oh, weird. Did you know that when you copy this, you actually get it with the background? Background? I call it the background. The black background. I guess that's one way to do it. Say it easily. It doesn't just put it in as straight up text. Hold right mouse button and use WAS to fly around. Well, WAS works, but you can just move your mouse. So, yeah, I mean, this flies around. It's just totally cool, man. What I can't seem to do is move it back. I guess I can zoom like that. Which is a... Now the question is, do I want to see the entire field? What is normal? Did I actually see that? Oh shoot, I didn't see it. When I ran the other games, do they show you the whole field right away? Huh. That's crazy. Okay, well, never mind. So what was I looking at? Oh yeah, I was going to look at my app. Look at this other app. I want to see if. Let me open this back up. I'm going to bring it back to. Here. Can open this back up, and then we're gonna go look at Super Tiny Football again. I just want to see how much field they show. Now, games like most football games where there's control, significant control, don't run from the sideline view. I like sideline view. Don't get me wrong. I may try some other views if I can get them to work. But Super Tiny Football is about as close to one that I. By the way, a lot of these games have like conditions. If you like kill the game in the middle, it's like, oh, that just counts as a restart or blah 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 blah. I'm not going to allow that, by the way. You won't be able to restart a game. Oh, so this one has a match in progress, so that's cool. They actually saved it. Some games don't save their games in progress. They just kind of hold it against you. Okay, so yeah, they show the entire field, including some players on the sideline. So they got a lot of field in here. So, I mean, really, they show a lot of field. 10, 20, 30, 40. Geez, I can't even see it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Well, almost 60 yards of field is in view. 70 yards if you go to the back. But in the front, it's about 35 yards. So now that's on my screen, which I don't know how close that is in app view screen, but still that's 70 yards. Now that I have a lot of field on mine, but it's going to come down to what my viewport shows. So I don't mind if my entire screen shows, but I need my viewport to kind of follow the game. My viewport will be 70, and I might have but it's going to be using these cameras. So whatever these cameras see is what I'll see. But 70 yards is a lot. 70 in the back, about 35 in front. I don't know how often. I always play fourth down because I don't care. And okay, so they do show a lot of field. I like it. I like that they have players on the sidelines. Again, I'm gonna have problems with my players. So if you figure they have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. They have 27 players showing, but I don't know if those guys on the sideline are actual players or they're just like sprites. I mean, they look a lot the same. I don't think there's no motion on them. They're not like standing there being animated. And yeah, I don't know if I don't know if there's any. Oops. Probably would be good if I actually paid attention to where these guys, their routes actually run to. So when you see squad on this game, all their players aren't assigned. Their players are not assigned. They're you have like 10 guys that matter. Everybody else is a squad player. And I don't even think it's 10 guys per offense and defense. It might be like 6 on offense, 6 on defense. It's not a lot. Gomez, Davies, they got names in the back of people. But yeah, squad players scored that. Let's go for 2. There it is. I'm kicking his butt. But see how nice the stadium is? It zooms out. You got this really cool stadium going. Um, it even has the scoreboard. Man, they did a really good job with that, man. I'm impressed. I like the way this lays out. Look, they went and scored right back. They only got 3 though. Guess that's good. So the players, it's kind of cool. They have players, and they're slightly animated, and their heads follow your team. Look at them; they're all looking over here, which is kind of cool. They don't move at all in any other way, but it's still kind of cool that they at least point in the right direction. Like they have a little fan over there ticking. The little fans keeping them cool. They have some pretty cool little extras on their game. And they got the cheerleaders doing their thing. And it doesn't seem to affect the way things flow. I mean, they could just be sprites, but I don't know how to do that stuff. 3D models, they look like they're doing all of their... Huh. You know, I like a lot. I don't know if I'll be doing cheerleaders, but I think it's cool that they did. This is I'm a long way from this, but they have about 30 in front, 60 in back, so it's a fair amount of zoom. But I think it has a lot to do with the like for my screen currently, I'm running way more in front and way more in back, but that's a lot because of my angle. I mean, I got basically the whole field. That's too much, right? I need to zoom in some. But how? So if I wanted to change my perspective, I'm going to minimize this for a moment. Let's go ahead and take this off the screen for now. All right, so this is what my app actually shows, which is not anywhere near the amount of I mean that's too small, right? So what that means is what it's seeing in the viewport field scene, not fully. Where's the rest of where's the other part of this? Did I close the screen? Oh, that's just because it's not. No. Where's my field scene go? Did I close my scene window? Maybe. Is it just behind? Oh, I guess I don't need this. Why is that still open? Weird. I thought I just closed that. Oh! I closed my app. I closed my scene window. My bad. This is what I closed. Geez, what view is that? I do have a background, by the way, but it's a cylinder, so it blocks a lot of my stuff when I'm working on it. So I have to turn it off while I'm doing this. So let's see. I can do this. So if I go to the simulator view, that means it's looking at my camera. So this is looking at whatever camera is being picked on right now. I don't know which camera that is though. That's scaling. Oh. I don't play on focus control panel. Oh. Nope. How do I change? Can I set this? does that do to the simulator? Nothing. I mean, it puts the wrong camera out, for one. It's like if I set it to main, or anything other than main, it doesn't show. Which is, main is the only one that works. But that does give me an idea of what it's looking at, because that's what I want to see. So when I go to simulator, that's how much of my field I'm currently seeing. So I need to adjust my camera, my main camera. I have to adjust a lot of my cameras. I think it's because I currently have them set off to only work in the render texture, and only this one is active right now. So I can't set the render texture property. Wait. Oh, that one's got the render texture. So why is this one? Display one. Huh. Probably the one that I'm using here. Okay, so that's fine. Let's just go ahead and adjust this camera. Ultimately, I'm going to have to set this camera where I want it. I want to be able to start in certain spots and move it around. But for now, let's just get me in a good place where I can see what it's trying to be. So position, we're going to go with some, I don't know, that's the end zone, I think. The camera's position, 200. I don't know, what is that going to do? All right, so that puts it on the other side. I don't know, why does 200 move it so far out the other way? Okay, there's no zooming, no control. Why is it 300 though? It's because it's certainly not 300 yards. Huh, is that pixels? Can you do stuff like that here? Nope, no control here. Okay. 400? Too much. Well, actually, maybe not. Let's, I'm 400, but I want to raise it up a bit. Let's go to 200. Okay, so how much is that? It's probably not. We got 10, 20, 30. That's close. Doesn't have the full field. Let's go 450 here. Yeah, all right, 420. Okay, 30. Okay, so 430 covers 10, 20, 30, 40 yards. Probably still a bit much. I'm still getting way much, almost 80 yards in the back. I'm trying to just kind of go with something I've seen that I kind of like the way it works. So I may or may not adjust this in time, but I'm trying to get a good feel for how it looks. So, and if in time I want to put more field or less field or whatever, we'll do that. But in the meantime, what would be the appropriate? Let's go to 50 here. See what that does. Still getting an awful lot. It's not really, this is just putting me higher in the air so I can look down on the field more. So what if my rotation, I think, does X rotation move left or right? I think that's, okay, there we go, 30. Just looking down more. So Y position is altitude. That's how high my camera is. Let's go back to 220. $10, $20, $30, still 40 yards. Got to bring it closer to me though. Now what do we got? 10, 20, 30, 5-ish. Still have quite a bit of space in the back though. I mean, back here I'm still running 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, almost 80 yards. Still seems like a bit much. So now it could be that I'm running with I'm running with official width fields, but higher would, trying to figure out, higher would give me a more direct downward angle, but it's also going to allow me to see more field. I don't necessarily want more field. So if I brought the camera closer, but then I'd have to change my angle more. The Z position is forward back. All right, let's go see this one again. Oops. It's still running. So it's kind of, I threw a ball when I did that. Where'd it go? I keep looking at this, and look, I feel like I'm getting really tall, but look how tall this is. And this is on the same device. So in theory, can I adjust this? So if I were to put this right on top, well, it's almost the same device. This is a 5. This is the aspect ratio is a little bit different, but. So you can see, I thought I had a pretty steep view. This actually has a steeper yet view. That's how they're shrinking it. Which means they're higher. That means the camera is going to be much higher than my camera. So I got to go up. Let's take it to 300. And then I got to change my rotation on here. Let's go to 40. That's getting closer to the same view. Let's go to 45. How do I mean, my yardage is 5 yards apart, so it's the same, but my spots, it just looks more, theirs looks more magnified than mine. How are they doing that? So do I close in? Let's go to 50 here. Let's do a 50-degree angle. Well, that's way closer now. What if I drop my position here to like 275? And then we'll move my Z position closer again. So we'll go 300. Oops, too much. 50. That's pretty kind of sort of close, right? I mean, it's similar. I still have 10, 20, 30. I still have 40 yards showing on my screen. Why does it do that? I saw 40 yards showing in my screen. So what does that mean? Does that mean I gotta close in more? To like bring the camera closer? 10, 20, 30, 40. Yeah, I'm getting, yeah, that's closer. So that is similar. And they do use up a lot of the field. Now mine is not as clean as theirs, but you can see that I've now got it down to what, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, roughly about 70 yards in back. And so it's similar in layout now. Whoops. As far as the basic look of how their field positions on the screen as mine. Now, they're using up a good chunk of the screen, a very good chunk of the screen. So I want to see what it looks like when we're going to play fourth down here. And we're going to see if I can get a first down. Nope, got sacked. Whatever. Okay, whatever. You suck. Oh, wait. Oh, well, I was going to look at what it looks like on a skinnier screen because I'm actually thinking I'm going to use a smaller area of the screen for my field because I have ideas of what I want to put above the screen, which means my field is going to play on a smaller area. I'm not going to be as efficient So what I really need to do is put the 22 players on the field because at this point, now I kind of have an idea of about the scale that I want my screen to look. Let's put the 22 players on the field. So I guess that just means copying a bunch of models. As far as hierarchy goes, when I have 22 models on the field, is it just to load them dynamically or put that many copies in the hierarchy field? 22 player models. Do I put them under a single I don't know how they put these in. I don't know how people typically load these. Do you actually load them all? I think ultimately you're probably only loading one. Like I have one lizard, and then I put 22 lizards on the field at runtime. Hierarchy organization. If you prefer to place players directly in the scene, teams, empty game object. Oh, I guess you could just create some generic game object. Offense, defense, other defensive players. You know, I could put that down. What I'm actually thinking is I may have I wonder if it'd be better to create a bunch of possible models, use the ones I want, and then I can assign different models to them. For best performance, use dynamic loading plus hierarchy organization. Create an empty game object called players or teams. Create two objects, offense and defense. Dynamically instantiate player prefabs and parent them to these team containers. Use object pooling for player models if you'll be destroying them frequently. Benefits of this approach. Organization, clear hierarchy makes selection and manipulation easier. Performance better than having 22 separate objects at the root level. Flexible, easy to enable, disable entire teams or swap formations. I don't need to do. Do I need entire teams? My teams are not going to be fully defined here. There's going to be a lot of model changes. I think what they're going to do is enable or disable entire teams. Huh. For editor-friendly setup. If you prefer working directly in the editor or want to position players manually, create the hierarchy structure shown above. Place player prefabs as needed. Use a script to reference these pre-placed players instead of instantiating them. This gives you the best of both worlds, clean organization and the ability to precisely position players in the editor. Now, I'm a little concerned about things like my grid setup. I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it. I have no doubt I'm going to figure that part out. It just, in my head, I haven't got it solved yet. All right, so it does kind of come down to hierarchy. So let's go ahead and at least do that. I may go with this format, but eventually delete. But I just need something to put players on the field. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do that. All right, so we're going to go create empty. No, that's in the wrong scene. You need to be in this scene. Do I want to put it on the field? Yeah, let's put them in the field. Because that's where everything's going to go. So it'd be kind of silly not to have them there. And then So my background generation simulation code will be passing a play progress log with current player position. Set say x, y, x, y, x, y, grid. Okay, so my background simulation code will be passing a play progress log with current player position set as an XY grid position. The value of the XY grid position is equivalent, for now I think it's like 1.5 yards to about 1.5 to 1. Per value 0.5 to 1 per value in distance in the field. So x 0 colon y 0 is the starting position of the play, where the ball is snapped. A player at -6 colon 0 is on the scrimmage line about 9 yards to the left. And a play progress log entry. Play progress log entry is sent to the front end for rendering if that player's new x, y coordinate is -6 colon. Moved that 7.5 yards. The very first play log provided will have an entry for every player. Well, how about this? Every player will have an entry in the play log. In each play log provided. The very first entry will have represented as actions. You can see this in my playbook service. Play definitions and the simulator service. Play log. Play progress log. I'm giving it a lot of detail here because I'm trying to start gronking how this is going to start putting players on the field and how they're going to move around on the field when the ball is snapped and all that kind of fun stuff. So I need to start kind of gronking how these guys are going to be on the field. What I don't have, or I may have to create, is some kind of animation that has them all wherever they are in the field turn back and run back to the huddle. And that's where the play is going to be selected. So when the user, so even have that, even when that animation starts is when the plays will come up, when you can start selecting your plays. Because they're just going to run back there. It might take them a second, but you're going to have, you pick your plays, they get to the huddle, and then they'll run back out. The first action they'll do is execute the first line on their route actions, which is to go to the scrimmage line at whatever position they're assigned. My question is, how do I translate those grid coordinates into positions on the field and implement movement from the player's current position on the field. To those coordinates. This is going to be a long-winded thing. So before I go there, let's go ahead and create my game objects. I'm going to go ahead and just call this players. I got to give it a name of some kind, right? I'm not sure what happens to players when they go offline, offside, sidelines. I'm going to close my screen here quick. Just because I want to see how this looks on a skinny phone. If it's... So, okay, so this is as skinny as a phone gets. I'm telling you, they don't get skinnier than this. At least not in modern games. Maybe in older phones they may have gotten skinnier, but in modern games they don't get skinnier than this. All right, so it's funny you can reset a game. I don't like that you can reset a game. It should just say continue existing game. Or offer the opportunity to simulate. Okay, so this really, it's, so on a big phone, it actually just shows you more stuff. It changes the camera to fit the screen. So I don't know that that's going to happen with mine because I have different plans, like I said. But this lets you see a whole lot of field. Probably very hard to. Whoa. That was me not having any idea what my routes were. Gosh, guy moves fast. I didn't even come close to getting that one to him. Jiminy criminy. I am not coming close to these guys. Whatever. That was not good. I keep giving up field goals. Maybe I can keep that up. Nope, piece cord. But anyway, so there you see a lot more field on a skinny screen. That's how they do it. It gets longer, which kind of makes sense. You got more area to see. So, but they're still using up the entire screen, which almost becomes a requirement, I'd imagine. So I am building this to work nicely on a foldable phone, but what I may not be able to do is I'm trying to think how my other view items would work. Because not everybody's going to be playing on a foldable phone. I'm telling you. We all know that. But the question is, how does my game run on a, so mine, these ones don't even allow for vertical. I have no idea. I'm gonna have to really play with how I do this on the on a different phone type, and because you can't, I mean, you can scale some, but I don't know how that's gonna look. What happens if I put this on? Let's try out one of these other things. Let's go with the Galaxy S9, which is the only one that fits. So that's kind of how it would look on an S9. And if I do my other thing, my other big plan, Now this is not actually my game screen. This is just how it looks if I was just to put this on my scene. I have my other objects that need to be on the scene eventually, like main menu bars and stuff like that that my screen will show. I haven't given it the command here yet because I'm waiting to so that's how it's gonna be. Okay, so what I might do is keep the aspect ratio of my game, make it work in fold form. I don't know. It's definitely a thing. Definitely a thing. I'll be right back. I gotta step away for just a moment. I had to grab some food. I was getting hungry, so sorry. I had to step away. And yeah, you know, hey, this is a developer thing. You know, developers have to have their food, their chips, their drinks. This way you can just continue to plug away. So I haven't given it the question yet. The question is, how am I going to implement my grid system? And let's see how that goes. Now, I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to start off with offense. Defense and offense are always going to be different teams. I'm just going to have the two, offense and defense, but we'll load up different. Well, my thought is I'll load up different models and stuff for each player that needs to be in there. Now, whether that's the best way to go or not. Now, I am breaking rules for streaming. Don't eat while streaming, man. Well, you know, it's either that or I stop. So I have the lizards here. What is this object? Is that just a... What is that? Huh. That actually broke. Why did that break? That's weird. I mean, it's still kind of there, but he kind of broke. Why? Guess they can't be in the plane, which is interesting. So maybe this should not be inside. This probably should be out here. Then maybe I can put this in here. Nope. How come it gets distorted when I put it inside of an object? So I have a character model on my football field scene. When I try to move it into the team's offense game object. It gets kind of messed up. Oh. Hmm. So if I keep roll position, is there that? Hmm. All right, so if we go Control X, then here we go. Control Alt V. Oops. Control X. Control Alt V. It's not working. Paste special. Keep roll transform. Still went weird. Nope, that didn't work. See how it's going all wonky like that? I like Ruffles, but these are kind of salty. I like Ruffles and I like jalapenos. But these are jalapeno ruffles. Jalapeno sour cream or whatever. They're not bad. They're just kind of salty. I know, I'll talk about anything, man. There's nothing I can't get distracted on. I wonder if there's something going on. Huh. All right. Food eating time is over for now. Lunch has been consumed. Take those back upstairs in a bit. All right. I'm still trying to figure out how to hit this. I can't get my lizard into my Teams folder. When you parent an object, it inherits the scale of its parent. All right, it inherits the scale of the parent. So let's set the scale the same then. So 10, 10, 10. Let's go here. Oops. See if that does anything. Ah, that worked. All right. So that was the problem. A scale issue. Now, do I just put 22 of them in here? Seems like an awful lot. Actually, you know what I might do? Let's I'm assuming I'm putting them all in the same spot, but we're going to go let's see, that's 9, 10, 11. All right, now we're going to take all these guys. We're just going to call it lizard, or start renaming some guys. We're going to call this one lizards. Or G. And this is probably not the best way to do this, but this guy is going to have a different position, though. How do I do this? Position. Oh, are they all tiny? Did it create those guys all tiny? No, it wouldn't create them all tiny. Let's just go 6. Ah, there we go. Nine. $12. And then we'll go 9, and then we'll go 3. Oops, wrong way. Nope. Oh, let's go back. That one be 3. Why does he look like he's floating compared to the other guys? He is floating compared to the other guys. Why are you floating, dude? Okay. Let's put him at what should I put him at? -12? Oh, that's the wrong way. Why is negative going to the right? Oops. Let's go 18. No, let's. How many have I got on there? 18? 15? And we'll go at him. He's going to go out to, we'll go 2. So 15, 21. And we'll go out to 0. No, he's got to go to 6 at least. Or -6. And we'll take, this guy will be a 15, right? No, 18. But we'll put him back 3. Which means this dude, oops, I'm not selecting him. Needs to go out farther. I'll take him to 20. 24. We got a lot of lizards on the field. We'll go -6. Oh, moved the wrong guy. Dang it. Alright, that's fine. Put him in. 15. What do we got left? Got 1 left. Who am I missing? Do I not have enough guys on the field? No, I have 5 offensive linemen. This guy's kind of far over though. I feel like he's not in a tight end position. There we go. Alright. Still missing somebody. I got 1 tight end, 5 offensive linemen, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I have 11. Oh, this is an extra. Let's give it to him. Alright, so that guy doesn't need to exist. Alright, so there you go, man. There's 11 of my football players on the field. Woohoo! I have 11 football playing lizards on the field. And I have him, let's see what he's, that's, actually this is a left guard. This is a left tackle. Actually, I may have those backwards. Tackle goes on the outside or on the inside? I may have that backwards. I think the guard goes in the middle. Actually, yeah, I may have that backwards. This is the center. This is the right guard. Right guard. And this is be the right tackle. And this would be, oops, is that the QB? Oops, I went to the QB first. Haha. QB. And then this one is, that's the running back. That is the right tackle. Something's weird. I'm like missing people somehow. I think I misnamed somebody. So yeah, guard, a tackle, center. Guard, tackle, center. Guard, tackle. Oh no, I guess we got it. Guard, tackle, QB, running back. I don't know. Just a wide receiver. Sure. Wide receiver, 1. Wide receiver 2. Wide receiver 3. And tight end. Okay, so there you go. There's 22, or not 22, that's 11 actually. Let's see, 11 guys on offense. And I don't need this. Now what I'm thinking is I'm going to do is delete this object. And then I'm going to copy this object. We're going to name it defense. Now the question is, how do I swap all my guys? Swap them around. Okay, so I have 11 more guys, but now I got to figure out how to put them on defense. I'm just randomly putting them on the field right now because I just want to see what they look like sitting on the field. That's all I'm doing. Nothing fancy, nothing anything. I just kind of got to get a feel for how characters look while they're on the field. Probably should move the football too. Let's move the football. We want to put the football not right there. It's close, but not quite. We'll put it at so Z is going to go back sideways. So we're going to have to go like -2. All right? I moved it? Nope. It's not even doing anything. Oh, I did move it. Man, that's terrible. I don't have any idea how this scaling's working. I wonder. No, because if I want them to scale, if I put this in anything, it's just going to go microscopic. I mean, it shouldn't be. Huh. So my object, so my football object is super tiny at 1:1 scale. I have to scale it up to 50x 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 to look like a normal ball. Is there a way to this more where one is a yard size football would be scale to maybe 0.3. More standard scaling. Okay, so this is the best long-term solution. Rescale the model in 3D modeling software. Now! The best solution is to take your object and rebuild it somewhere else. Go out to Blender and fix it. And I hate Blender. Blender sucks. Blender, Maya, 3D Max or similar software. Resize the actual mesh to be around 0.3 units for footballs. That's 11 inches. Alexa, how long is a professional football?
An NFL football is a leather oval, measuring about 1 foot in length, 3.5 feet in circumference, and weighing approximately 1 pound.
Huh, it is about what I thought. Open it in Blender, Maya, 3D Max or similar software. Resize the actual mesh to around 0.3 units. Export and re-import to Unity. Create a properly scaled prefab. If you can't edit the original model, I can't, but I don't want to. It's such a pain. Blender sucks. I don't need to keep my current scale. Oh, I don't want to create a football. I like it building around a yard. A yard, 1 yard is good. I like that. Oh, dude, I gotta go rebuild my football in Blender. I assume I can fix it. I mean, I bought the parts. I don't know. I mean, I would just import it. I would think I can fix it. I may be wrong. Should have went DoorDash. And you know what? I got a DoorDash. Not today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to DoorDash tomorrow. I need to make up for some expenses. So I got to put it on my schedule before I forget. Dasher. Hey Dash, do you want to come out and do nothing and make no money? Yeah, man, I can do that. I'm up for making no money. Who doesn't like making no money? Who doesn't like wasting their time to make almost no money? Well, nobody? No, I'm good. I'm big on wasting my mornings. Reviewing your photo. I gotta do this. Am I not centered? Check the permissions to use the device. mean you can't access my photos? Huh. Don't know why. Thursday. Okay. Alright, maybe I shouldn't do this right now. Stupid thing is always something. You want to do something quick and simple? Nope. Nope. It knows you want to be off of it quickly. In which case it's going to give you all kinds of crap you have to go do. Okay. That's weird. Okay, well. I did give it permissions, but apparently it says it doesn't have permission. It says it can't access my camera, but yet it's showing me my camera. I don't know how that works. Huh. What it could be is one of these dumb things. I've noticed that some apps just can't work in a foldable phone. They just don't know what to do with themselves. What do you mean you can't access it? You're looking at me now. Through the camera. Alright, well, whatever. Guess I'm not door dashing. Oh well, that's the Dasher app saying, we don't want you dashing. It's like, okay. I don't want to mess with it. So, it's just not worth my time. The amount of time I just spent the money they give me, effort trying to get that thing going, and it didn't work. Okay, so we have this. I'm curious. Let's go see what this looks like in my panel. And we'll just click here and hit F. Oh. So that's, whoa, that is, not. I want to unload. Why is it showing both items though? Oh. Yeah, well, that's not right, but seeing it from two different angles too. This is camera 2, that's camera 1. But they're seeing different things, and this definitely is not going to work for that angle. But what I need to figure out, a couple of things. One is, why do I have both items showing? It's already active scene. I haven't put any defensive players on the field yet. I mean, they are on the field. I've actually got double them on the field right now. I gotta figure out how to rotate my guys, though. I don't remember how to do that. Like, make them by default look the other way. Oh, rotation. Is that it? All right, let's try and put a defensive player out. So we're gonna go here. And we will put him at -3. Oh, why is he over there now? Okay, so back to the defense. All right, so we're going to go back to the defensive here. And why does he go way back all of a sudden? Whereas these guys... Now we're at decimal points? How do we end up in decimal points? Why did these suddenly change in scale? What happened? I was just doing normal values, and all of a sudden we're doing negative. Now we're doing fractional values. And I didn't change anything. What are you doing? Huh. Well, it's still... I don't understand why it did that, but we're going... dinosaur now. It's kind of weird. Let's turn this back into a 1. Huh. Don't know what just happened, but okay. if we must be totally confused. One tab. That's what I thought. And why did they all shrink like that? I don't know. We're gonna go 1 tab 1. We're all normal size, but we're all in wonky spots. So what happened was, I don't know, something happened. Something mysterious happened. And now all of my guys are broken. But it might be because I didn't have them inside. And if I'd have known that was going to be the case, I would have actually built them in here to begin with. Because it seems like if you put them inside, it gets their correct scaling, and I didn't know that. So they were scaled at whatever they were scaled at naturally. So maybe if I put my football inside of something, I won't have to mess with it. Oops. So in other words, I think my football might scale correctly if I put it inside of something that's of a similar scale. So if I take my football and, like, say, put it on the football plane, actually, you know what? Let's put it inside the team. I don't think it's supposed to be that tiny, though. Put the football in with the offense. I mean, I guess, is that proportional? No, that's not proportional. That's like micro. That is not even close to proportional. It's got to be like, if this is a yard, you know, actually that might be proportional. I think my guys might actually be a little big. Because if this is a yard, this football really should be pretty tiny, right? I mean, that's how that works. If the gap from here to here is a yard, that should only be about a third of a yard. So if that's actually accurate, then yeah, it's got to be about that. Which means either my guys are too big, which could be, You know, let's open up a game again. Let's see how big proportionally they should look on the field. Let's see about how they did their football players. So they're taking up a little over a yard of space with their butt sticking out. Let's open this up into a bigger screen. Now, I don't know if any of these other ones, a lot of these take different angles, and that's why I'm not looking at them. And Big Win Football, my other one I like. Now, Retro Bowl does the same thing, but it's lower graphics, so I can't compare exactly or as closely. Now, you can see that it's this field's so much better than my field. The other option is I would have to build my field. And they did a good job of making it look like it's actually all part of one thing, which is really nice. It's like one big fancy field. But I don't know how they do the their field has a little texture on it. I've seen some with better field textures, but it's not really the point. So what are we looking at for space? It looks like they take up roughly about a yard. Now, not counting the tail of my guys, I'm a little bigger than that. So, yeah, they probably could be a little smaller. The football here they actually have a pretty big football. Their football is pretty big. Let's see what it looks like when I throw it. See, it's got a good height, even when they, I mean, there's a little bit of zoom going on, right? So. It does get bigger. I wonder if they purposely resize it. You know, or like they're making it bigger as it flies, you know, to give that sensation of it coming closer to you. Because it really does kind of get... Really? God. Turnover on downs. Wow. They actually went for it and failed. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a guy actually get away from a bunch of tackles. So I think these guys only take up maybe a yard. They really don't take up much. I mean, maybe a little more when they're leaning slightly. I can't really, I mean, there's no zoom here, so I can't really zoom in. Except to kind of, it zooms in a little, so they do have a camera that zooms in, which is kind of cool. Dope. He actually yells dope. That's something I would do. What else do I want to see here? So if we got my field sitting at about... I gotta get a cleaner field. My field's not good. I just want to be able to change the field types. That's the only reason I did that, so that I can put like different kind of grass and mud and other junk underneath it. I would have thought. So, see, notice how the screen has video on it? That's one of the things I want to do on mine. But theirs is just showing the cheerleader. And it may not be the actual cheerleader doing the actual thing. It might be, but that's kind of what I want to do. I have ideas though how that's going to work. Now, whether or not those ideas are going to help me any. Hey, look at me, man, taking the lead. See, and then they change the camera angle. That's what I want to do too. That's cool. Is there a benefit in going for 2? Going for 1 puts me at 2 lead. I gotta go for 2. So they got a decent feel. I don't know if I like their stadiums, but they at least they're functional, right? Do the people move? There's some flashes, light. Hey, what the heck? How'd I end up with a ball again? All right, well, there we go. There's oh, there's me dropping the, if I touch the, dang it. So yeah. Oh wait, did I not was I not showing that? My bad. Sorry guys. I thought I was showing what I was doing. Oh well. Sorry. Just the way it goes, I guess, sometimes. Three tab. 348? What is that? What is 348 supposed to be? 3? Oh, that was. Okay. My football is too tiny. And it's scaled at 1. It is small, but let's go. I wonder if I should make my guys smaller. Let's will this bring everybody down a notch? Make them a little less giant on the field. I don't like having things scaled too big. Let's go 8. Means my football's gonna have to. It does actually look better. They are nicer. So that one's set. Most of these guys are fixed, looks like. I'm still having trouble with my my grid system. I wonder if I should set up a grid system that's based on yards. It's not that hard. That's why I did it this way, so I could use a grid to change my proportions. But if I set up a grid system based on yards, I was kind of using it based on just, you know, about where I want people to be on the field. So I only need, you know, 13 squares to make everybody work. But if I base it on yards, it's going to be trickier because that's a lot more parts. If I could set it right at 2, have the grid system based on 2, so a 2 by 2 square, which would probably work as well. I wanted something that kind of divided into 5. Though it really doesn't matter because I have adjustments that adjust people back and forth. I have things that work on the difference. So you can actually be in a 2-yard space but only go 1 yard or half a yard even. I have fractionals. You can do fractionals. That's how I set up the back end to be smart enough to be able to, you can have 1/4 inches because literally you can possibly not cover the space. There's even ref placement. In other words, the ref may or may not put it in the exact spot you think they will. You can get 1/4 inches and maybe the ref only gives you 1 inch and you're off and you got to challenge it. Maybe. I might have challenges. Yeah, you can challenge. Now you would give your coach the game plan scenarios for challenges. So you don't necessarily challenge. You could challenge if you're playing in coaching mode, which I won't have immediately. First, I'm going to build it so it's all simulation. But implementing coaching mode is part of the plan, and I'm keeping all that in design mode as I'm going. It just may not be fully available at the start. Let's get it all working first as I want, and then I can start adding things like that in later. Those are add-on features. Next phase stuff. 3, 3, 15. Three, 3, 24? It's weird. Oh, that's just lowering him. Oh yeah, I'm all floaty. Everybody's floaty. Let's go. 1. Nope. That's better. Put everybody down on the field like they're supposed to be. Three, 2, 3, 6, 3, 9. So wide receiver 1. It's supposed to be a negative. Oh, too far. 21. Nope. 18. Okay. Even 15 with that. Wide receiver 2 should be at 15. Okay, so my ratios are off. Because if it was 15 to that direction, it should be 15 to this direction. That's how that should work. But it's not. Why? Where is my center point? Should all be based on center point 0. Offense is in the right place. Is it because these guys aren't scaled exactly and I was not doing tens? Oh. So I have to do something weird like times 8. Oh no. That's not going to be fun. So it makes 10 better in that sense. In that sense, 10 is definitely better. Let me turn that guy off because I don't need it right now. Let's see if I'm right. So if it's 8, oh gosh. What happens if I put these at 5? 5 is an easier number to work with, for one thing. 5, tab 5, tab 5. Those are pretty tiny. I don't know if I can do that. I feel like that's too tiny. Of course, they are pretty tiny, even on the... even on the app, they are pretty tiny. And if I zoom out, these guys are going to look even smaller though. Because we figure if I'm looking at it like this, or even looking through the simulator, kind of hard to see, aren't they? From this position. Let's see. I feel like they're too tiny. I don't know. Are mine... I mean, they are pretty tiny. They're tiny on both. It's not unbearably tiny here, but it's definitely tiny. All right, let's try it. I'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be roomier. All right, so we're going to leave it. So the center, if it's a 5, what if I just go, his position would be 0. And the Y is just him floating a little bit, and 0. Why is 0, 0 not not in the center of the field? Is it because of my scale? So do I have to do something weird, like say 5, and then X would be 5 to be in the center? So that would be center? I don't look like center either. Where's my football at? And this would be like... they don't look like they're aligned. 5. That doesn't work either. But they're not scaled at 1 to 1. It's scaled at 1 to 5. 1.5. God, it's such a pain. This is why everything should be scaled at 1. So if I was to make my football the right size at a scale of 1, it would be it would naturally be about 0.3, just out of its norm. So I wouldn't have to do anything. Everything should be scaled at 1. It's all it should be. Everything should be scaled at 1. That's why you have to open these up in other apps, create them in a 1. And my images are not, my characters are not coming in at 1:1. They're actually tinier for whatever reason. Probably because the tool that I use to generate them probably creates them small, so it's less load. Shows them big, but creates them small. So at a 5, so if my models are all scaled at 5:1, I set them at 1:1 in a game object scaled at 5:1. So they look correct on the screen, on the field. When I position them on the field, what is the conversion? X, Y, and Z. It's just 5 times? Would it be better that I stick them in the plane where the field is? That would make them be at the same scale as the... Standard player spacing of 1 yard equals 5 units apart in Unity. I don't know. I have to look at a good way to build my field lines on top of my grass. I think I may have to come up with a better way to build my field lines, because I don't think this is working. I mean, they look okay, but they don't look great. And the whole point was to be able to change the coloring of the field and do stuff with the field, but I'm not getting a very good. It just doesn't look sharp and clean. It's kind of yuck. I even up the resolution on the lines, but it just doesn't look good. And I don't know how best to. It just looks froggy. Froggy. Yeah, I said froggy. Whatever. What is my plane here? I wonder what would happen if I stuck my players inside of the plane of 120 to 53. I'm just curious. Let's take one of my lizards here. We'll drag him in here. I'm just curious what he looks like. And then I'm gonna go 1 tab 1 tab 1. And make him visible, obviously. Ooh, he's huge. And he doesn't really show off correctly. But he did get made gargantuan. So putting him inside of the same plane as the football field doesn't work. But he's big. How is he so big and yet? I think he's just stretched out based on the field size because he's on the scale. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. You know, like, if my teams are set at yards, what if I said, it took his value with him. Turn that off for now. I'm just playing with this, trying to get a better feel for how things work. So what if I set my would it all be ones? They'd all go down to 1, but I want them bigger than 1, but I don't necessarily want them. It's just easier if they're all the same. Anyway, if you scale them, then that means their movement is still going to be bigger. It'd be nice to get them scaled so I can just deal with numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I'm trying to do. Get them all scaling. So is position of the player based on the field scale or player scale? So if I set the player scale at 1, Place. Okay, so the problem here is when I place a unit at 0, 0, 0, place 0x0x0, it does not place him in the middle of the field. My player to scale to 555. Seeing that same 1 equals 1 yard. Problem, the models are too small. That is why I had to scale them larger to look right. One yard dimensions 120, but your player modes are scaled to 5 to look correct on the field scale, field coordinate system. This is 120 yards long by 53 yards wide. The coordinate system should look like this. Length 120, width 53, origin 0, 0, 0 should typically be at the center of the field. If place the player 0 to put them in the center of the field, there are two possible issues. Field origin is not centered. Your field object's pivot point might not be at the center. To check and fix this, what do I always do in code? That's kind of cool. Huh. Interesting. So what this is saying here is I could generally turn my entire field into a grid. So the problem with the grid system for play creation is it considers too many yards. So I'd have to do something like have set yardage points. I don't want to have to build plays based on 1 yard at a time because it's too much. You're either in a grid position or you're not. So I have adjustments that decide whether or not you land in a particular place or not. Oh, there's a lot of geometry involved in football. a lot of math, a lot of algebra. Maybe it's not geometry, algebra. It's a little bit of geometry too, but you know what this point equals that point equals math divided by that math, which is that math divided by that math. Okay. Let's see what this says here. Create a field position calculator. Since your field and player are different scales, let's create a position calculator. Football positioner. Reference to your football field. By convention in football is typically the center of the field. Field dimensions in yards, including end zone. If field is rotated, specify which unit axis corresponds to length width. Get position and specify yard line and hash mark. Convert yard line to position. Calculate position where 0 equals center. 60 back of one end zone plus 60 equals back of other end zone. 0 equals back end zone. Calculate width position, distance from left sideline. If field is not at origin, at field position. Place a player at specified field position. Center pivot. Get field renderer bounds. Field must have a renderer. Okay. Calculate center point. That's kind of interesting. Field object's pivot point might not be at the center. Okay, so let's. Well, you can see this is at 0, 0, 0. My field is at 0, 0, 0 as well. So let's do something here. It looks so bad. I am going to just sit on top of this right now, just so I can see what this looks like. So I'm gonna go pick a player, the center. Does that guy look like he's in the center to you? No. 0, 0, 0. That's not a 0. Those are O's. 0, 0, 0. That is definitely not in the center. This guy, by the way, should be a 1 or even a 0.5. But why is that not in the center? If I click the football, football's way over there. 0, 0. Well, that one's right in the center. How come the player's not going into the center? 0, 0, 0. But I picked the center guy. He's way the frick up there. See, the football landed right in the middle. But my center, and they're all inside the same space. And yet my center, why is he not showing up in the center? Do I have some kind of code or something messing with my dude? It could. Wouldn't put it past me. So my football object inside the same container as my player model is placed perfectly in the center with a 0x0x0 position. However, the player model with that same position coordinates set to offset by at least 4 yards on the y-axis and no on the z-axis and 2 on the x-axis. Can these tell if there is any code? I have in my application walk speed, run speed, rotation speed, animator speed parameters, standing value, walking value, running value, speed change rate, arrival threshold. So there is some stuff, fixed speed controller, but I'm not really doing fixed speed. I'm not doing anything in the animation. Where is the pivot point? Okay, let's go see what we got here. Do I have other information in here like this? Interesting. So the scale of the rigid oh, now he's in the right spot. So my position is throwing it off. So he's on top of the football now, like he's supposed to be. He's also way tiny. He did so if he's set to that, it's a little bit of a mislead. Even though my team says he's a 5. Whoa. Why is he still floating so high? All these guys are floating way too high. I mean, they need to float a little bit just to get them down onto the screen. Oh. That still doesn't answer the... 0.1 is pretty high. Could just set this to 0. And if they need it. Because really... Alright. Which means I need to fix all of these guys. I didn't realize they all had like a weird setting on their sub parts. So they should just be 1s and 0s. That's all they should be. Zero, 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 1, 1, 1. And then the lizard itself should be 5s. Zero, zero. Just trying to clean up my models here so they're not so confusing with this partially set up nonsense. Not sure how I missed that one, but okay. Alright, so everybody is now sized correctly. And the center should be right where he's supposed to be. Everybody's pretty much just bunched up all in the same spot. But let's see if I can get these corrected. Now we're going to delete the defense right now. I'll fix those in a minute. Everybody's just sitting on top of each other. Left tackle, so now I should be able to go some amount on the x-axis, which I believe is going to be what, backwards? Okay, that's not bad. Kind of where I wanted him to. And then, oops, this guy's the center, we're fine. That's not the, oh, the QB should be 3 back though. Left tackle should not back. he should probably be negative. Do I go up? I guess up is positive, huh? Nope, it's not. It's left tackle, so it's -3. I mean, 2 yards. What is 2 yards? 2 yards is what? 2 yards is a lot. Guess what? So we got 36 inches. Big dude, covering up lots of space. But that means I have to go out to 62 inches or 72 inches. Do I even have 72 inches on this thing? I think this goes up to 72. Goes up to 60. So they're only about 2 yards apart. Are my guys taking up about 2 yards? If this grid is 1 yard grids, we're taking up about 2 yards each. And to say 3 would be 3 yards over. But it's 1, 2, 3. So yeah, their feet take up a lot of space though. Look how wide that foot is. If I just look straight down on them. I know, I'm being nitpicky, but it's ultimately when it's all scaled correctly, and then I can build off of that scale, I'll be able to function better. And honestly, players don't really sit on the line. I mean, they technically sit a little farther back than on the line. Just because that's the way they are. They're supposed to be behind the center. And as such, most guys don't actually sit. The center's actually got his head about probably a foot further ahead than all the other players. It's just the way it goes. Alright, so we'll get all these guys positioned and then I'll figure out my defense here in a minute. Alright. So if I wanted him to be, let's just say 0.3, what is that, about a foot? There we go. So all these guys, control, should be back 0.3. And then we'll put him. Is the tackle or the guard that's right next? Alexa, which is it? The tackle or the guard that sits right next to the center?
From Wikipedia.org. In American football, the guard, G, otherwise known as an offensive guard, OG, is an offensive line player who lines up between the center and the tackles.
Okay. So the guard goes first. That's what I thought. That's pretty much what I thought I was going for here. So guard. So the tackle's where he's supposed to be. The right guard is going to be like 6 over. And the right tackle will be 3 over. The only problem is if I'm setting these at 5 and then I have my team set at 5, they still end up at 10, don't I? I mean, it's kind of like everybody's going to shrink if I go one way and it go the other way. What if I go... just too big. But if I go 10, then I can do 1 to 1 to 1 on all my guys. But it still makes them pretty big. Shouldn't make any effect like it says on the other stuff. Oh, weird. So if I set them to 1 and set the team to 10, it doesn't scale right. So basically, if I set teams to 10, I can do it if I set teams to 10. But I can't do it if I set team. Whoa, what just happened there? I don't want it inside there. So if I if I go 10, 10, 10 on the team scale, even ones don't work. Well, what if I go 1 tab 1 tab 1 and go and change them to 10? They're still tiny. Gosh dang it. Why do these guys have to be so tiny? Hate it. I mean, they're essentially, if you scale them at 10 and then they're 10 inside the 10, they're 10 of 10. So 10 is basically everybody, all the team guys are 10 times too small. To get to the 1 yard aspect, if I go 10, 10, 10, then that means my lizards have to be two, tab 2, tab 2. If I go 2, that means they're roughly 2 yards out of 10. So what if I go 5 to 1? I tried 5 to 1. That didn't really work either. 5 to 1 makes it too small. Because if it's... Basically, my players have to be 10 times their size to be able to fit within a 1-to-1 scale. Ugh. Oh, I don't know how many players are going to be like this too. What if my other renders all have different dimensions? So if I bring them all in at, you know, some weird dimensions, I have to resize everybody. Great gurgly murgly. All right, I need to take an afternoon break. I will be back shortly.